Yeah, I don't know if it's the algorithms are changing or what, but the Explorer feeds are kind of fucked up now.
Mine are all murder.
Dude. Yeah, that's, my Twitter, at least, is basically that. Yeah,
Twitter's wild under Elon. Did you see that interview he did with the New York Times the other day?
Oh, yeah. He would told him to fuck himself.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
He goes, let me be clear. Go fuck yourself.
Dude,
you don't want to advertise on my platform? Go fuck yourself.
How much has he changed since you first met him to now? Because at least based on podcast behavior, he seems wildly different and more loose and bro-ish.
He's having fun.
Yeah.
He's a fun guy to be around.
Yeah.
Like, and he was here, last time he was here, he brought his son, and, he's hanging out with his kid. He's like a fun guy. He's not like, people have this idea he's this like fucking serious, driven businessman, which he most certainly also is. But he manages it all really well. Like, he's always laughing.
Was he
he's
like
having
that
a good time.
off camera the first time you met him too? Or did it kind of was like a warm-up period?
Well, I think there's a warm-up period. He has to get to know you and know he can trust you. I mean, when you're the richest guy in the world, there's probably a lot of people cutting angles on you, and it probably gets really odd. But what I did notice is that the first time we did the podcast, when I first met him, he was super loose and relaxed. Like he has his fucking. He brought me a blowtorch that not a what is it? Not a flamethrower.
Boring what is it? Yeah, I forget what the company name is.
So there's famous photos of him in my studio firing off this fucking flamethrower with 17 feet of fire coming off the end of this in the middle of our lobby. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? He's just wild. But I guess when you have that much money, you really have zero concerns. Like you could just be, if you're that guy, you could just be kind of a silly guy. Yeah. And he's just fun. He just likes to have a good time. And on the podcast, though, it took a while to loosen him up. I think there's also there's a thing that happens to people when they come on podcasts, at least this one, where the scale of it hits them.
Yeah, it's like the UFC championship of podcasting, essentially.
Yeah, it's like just the numbers of people that will be paying attention.
Yeah.
But once we started drinking, we had a couple of glasses of whiskey, and then things got loose, and then we were having a good time. Yeah,
one thing that's really good about this, I'm sure you've heard this a million times, but how chill the setup is with you guys. It's like, I've been on podcasts where it's like, I feel like I'm on a, I don't know, like the news or something, or it's some like big production. And it's pretty intimidating when you have 7 camera crew guys running around you every 2 seconds, and there's, 7 different camera angles that you're thinking about, and oh, don't shift this way too much. Oh, don't do that. And here it's, I think a lot of people would be surprised how like chill and laid back the whole setup is.
It's by design.
Yeah, like it's definitely the most conducive to a real conversation, I feel like.
Yeah, you don't want a bunch of people in the room with you. Like I've done people's shows where you have people in the room. I go, do you understand that these people are distracting?
Yeah, and it's like
it's going to take away from the conversation.
I think a lot of people, and I'm not a pro podcaster by any means, but I think they're of the opinion that higher production value consistently, no matter how high it gets, equals better without thinking about the detriment it has to the actual conversation. It becomes very manufactured.
Yeah. Well, I think particularly with this kind of podcast, you have to be aware of what are you making? Well, what you're making is a conversation that you want to be as easy to listen to as possible. So you want the person who's the guest to be as comfortable as possible. You want to give them as much space. You don't want to interrupt. You want them to feel good. You want everybody to be having fun and be friendly and to have them be the most relaxed so you can have an enjoyable conversation that you would digest if you're on a road trip or you're on a treadmill. Like that's what I'm trying to do. And the only way to do that is to make people comfortable. And the only way to make people comfortable is to not distract them. Yeah. So when I do some people's podcasts and they have like literally a glass wall and there's a control room and you see people running back and forth and they're holding up pieces of paper and they're timing things and there's 5 different people on the keyboards, and I don't know why they want to do that. I don't understand. Like, obviously not everybody's Jamie, and one of the things about having a guy like Jamie, it streamlines the process so well because Jamie does a job of 3 people. At least. There should be 3 people doing what he does. There should be one person that's Googling, one person that's switching the cameras, another person that's monitoring the sound levels and overseeing everything and making sure the lighting is good and everything's going smooth. You'd have multiple people doing what he does.
So you mentioned 25 years ago you got a great financial advisor. How did you guys meet to get this whole setup?
I just met Jamie at a comedy club. Yeah, Jamie came to a show at the Ice House, and we were just talking, just hanging out. He told me he's a professional audio engineer, and he was saying we have problems with our sound. And I said, "What would you do to fix it?" He goes, "I could take a look at it." And that was kind of the extent of the conversation, right?
Yeah, mostly.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then Jamie said he took a one-way ticket from Ohio to come to L.A. because this is what he wants to do. And I was like, really? But it was like, it seemed to me, and I, for whatever reason, I tend to follow instincts. Even if people say, don't do that. What do you do? I'm like, I don't know. This seems like the thing to do. And like with him, I was like, I think I'm going to hire that dude. And then right away, guy I didn't even know. I didn't know shit about him. He could have been a fucking serial killer. He could have been a fucking con artist. I mean, did we do a background check on you?
You'd have to tell me that. There was talks of it, but I don't know.
I think we probably did to make sure you're not a criminal.
I did sign something.
Yeah. But then right away, I was like, yep, I was right. He's the man.
What episode did you come in on?
Jamie's been here for 9 years.
Yeah, no, 11.
11 years.
Yeah.
But like there was some episode number where prior to that,
I don't remember.
the audio was shitty and everything.
Came in around 300.
Okay.
290, 300 was when I started.
Yeah. But again, not everybody's Jamie.
Yeah.
But Jamie and I are like kind of telepathic in this weird way. We're like, I'll be talking about something and Jamie will already have it pulled up. Like I'll start the conversation. Did you see this new jet? And then all of a sudden, Jamie's got the video and you'll see guests go, how the fuck how'd you do that? Did you guys plan this? I'm like, he's the man.
Yeah.
He's like, we have like the best working relationship in that regard. And, like I have other friends that run podcasts and they're always complaining. They're like, the producer chimes in too much and interrupts sentences. They get things wrong. They fuck this up. They do that wrong. They don't show up on time. They're late with their video editing or whatever the fuck it is. There's always something.
Yeah.
And Jamie and I just have it dialed in. But again, it's a skeleton crew. We have one guy who's a video editor. We have one guy who's a booking agent.
So it's like, because everyone would be wondering who has a podcast, like how do you find a Jamie or something that is like high level positions? Even for like companies you have, I've always wondered, how'd you find the people to run those so you can actually do what you do best?
Yeah.